2.
Welcome everybody to another Pages from Rock Bottom. I'm Matt.
I'm Kim, and tonight we are joined with Heather. Tonight's episode is about the moment where addiction takes you so far from yourself you don't even recognize who you are anymore. We're sitting with Heather, 7 years free from chaos, 7 years rebuilding her sanity and her soul. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Heather. Where are you from? How much? We know you have 7 years. Where are you from?
I'm from Beaver, Ohio. I grew up here my whole entire life. I have 4 children, 21, 15, 9, and 7. So they're all span out. I have a wonderful significant other, common law husband, Zach. We live together in a home together. We have 2 dogs and a cat.
Yeah, I have not heard that forever. She's a common law husband. And that was a real thing. That used to be a real thing.
Yeah.
Is that still a real thing?
I think in Kentucky. I think you got to live in Kentucky for that to happen.
Listen, my mom and dad were married by common law, and she literally had to divorce his ass. I swear to God.
Well, I still feel like I'm entitled to half of whatever Zach has, so it's okay.
But you live in Beaver with your common law husband, your children, and you have 7 years of sobriety.
Yeah.
Yay.
Free from the insanity of methamphetamine, heroin, crack cocaine, alcohol. I mean, all the things.
Yeah.
All the things by the grace of God. All the things.
Yeah, that's how we met, was in our active addiction days.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were shoo. Zach said, I'm here. I've heard of that. He said, I heard that. And then Rebecca said, hello, I'm here, Heather. Yes, girl, I'm so proud of you.
Thanks.
Aw, she's awesome. Rebecca, I've known her since we were little kids. You know what I mean? Our parents used to use and drink together, and
she is awesome.
Yeah, in the midst of the chaos, like my mom shooting my dad, and it was, that was a whole thing. Yeah. So, needless to say, me and Rebecca have known each other for a really long time. All right. So, I'm losing myself here for a second. I'm sorry. So let's talk about your early years of addiction. Let's talk about like the insanity of it and how you even got into it. Let's just talk about that.
Back as I can remember, I started meth when I was probably 16 years old. That was one of the first drugs I had ever tried, besides getting drunk one night and smoking pot maybe twice. I went hit the wall right with meth. And I can remember being in a shed in the backyard of a now probation officer's house, which was one of my friends, one of my very good childhood friends, and she's a probation officer now. But that was one of the first times I ever tried meth, and it just that was it. It was over for me. Continued years of methamphetamine abuse. Started out smoking, snorting, hanging out with people that were making dope, dating the dope man. Meth matched millionaire made in heaven, like that type of stuff. Ended up going to prison. I mean, I can't explain to you the level of insanity from even the evolution of the drug meth, when it was crank, when it was made with bass or whatever, made with, cold packs, when it was made with hydrous ammonia. All those levels of insanity they're just different types, but they're so real. That drug-induced psychosis is a real thing. It is such a real thing.
It is, and we were talking about that last week with his brother on the episode with his brother about the psychosis and how bad and real it is for people when they do get in those stages of it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't think people really realize, just because it's not real for other people doesn't mean that it's not real for the person.
Right, because you become a hostage in your own mind when you're on methamphetamine. You're up for so many days, I remember thinking to myself while I was in the vehicle with Zach and all of my kids in the car, and thinking to myself, he's arguing with me about something that I know is happening. I'm seeing it happen, but not understanding that was part of the psychosis. And I just wanted to jerk the wheel and kill us all. You know what I mean? That was the severity of the situation. There were times where I was homicidal, suicidal. It was only by God's grace that, whoo, I made it out, and everybody else did too. By God's grace, I made it out. I mean, there's a couple of Zach's, a couple close calls where thank God I'm here sitting talking to you, not from a prison cell for life. So
yeah.
So it's pretty rough, especially when you're in a relationship. You know, like there's a lot of domestic violence that happens. Your children see this stuff. I mean, it's just, you know, when I was in my active substance abuse with meth and heroin, like I was raising drug addicts. They were learning my behavior, and that's what they were becoming, you know. And it was just awful. You know, my son, he was 13 at the time, and I was making him drink with me because I wanted a bondable moment. You know, I wanted to bond with him. That's something I did. So I wanted to bond with him, you know, and that's what we did up until the point when Children's Services came and, you know, told us that we were, oh gosh, what's it called? We were under a safety plan. We've been through Children's Services two times.
Yep.
We didn't get it the first time.
Girl, I didn't get it the first time either. You know what I mean? And I still to this day, like, you know, I have a great relationship with my kids right now, except for my oldest daughter, of course. But you know, it's hard. It's hard. And CPS is can be really difficult, but I guess it depends on how you look at it. You know,
and it does. I want to talk about that for a moment too, because the first time I came into it with, you know, I was severely sick. You know, I had been to prison twice, several different outpatient settings, inpatient treatment. So I had like the knowledge, but I just didn't ever put it to use. But I went into it with the mindset, they're taking my kids. I couldn't see that they were removing them for a reason until the second time that happened. You know, they're removing my kids for a reason. What's this reason? And that's the time when I dropped them off. I took them straight up to CPS. I dropped them off. And my mentality, I was so sick. Like I was thinking, I'm getting a break, you know? And in my mind, I literally watched my children cry for their mother walking out of the door with strangers. And in my mentality was, I get a break. Yep, I get a break.
Yeah, that's insanity of it, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It really is. It is. Because if that were to happen today, I don't know. I mean, oh my gosh, I would fight tooth and nail.
Yeah.
No one's going to come near my children. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that day you dropped them off, can you walk us through it?
Yeah, absolutely. We were living in a motel. Zach was gone. He was afraid of me at this point. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. He's afraid of me. See, he wasn't there. My parents had actually been a blessing and called Children's Services on me. And this was in Ross County. And we lived on Valley Road at the time. And it was a horrible, horrible place to live for us. But my dad came to pick us all up. And I knew we were going to Children's Services to drop my kids off. And I am sitting in the back seat with dope in my pocket, with methamphetamine in my pocket, just antsy, waiting to get there. And then once we finally did get there, I went to the bathroom and snorted a line while my parents, Tracy Hathaway, some of the other CPS workers, they were in there calling Zach, like, you need to come in too and take a drug test. And of course I peed in the cup for him. I didn't care. You know, I was just ready to be relieved of, you know, this burden I felt like I had with these children, you know, because I had never had, I used drugs all through my pregnancies, every single one of them, you know, and I continued to use during their childhood. You know, I wasn't growing either. I was still a kid myself, you know, basically. And that day I can remember, that day I can remember, I've really worked through this, but it's still something that's traumatizing to me, because I remember, I can't even remember her name right now, but I remember her telling Cam, like, she was consoling my son because he was like, what is going on? Yeah. And my daughter was so little, like Kristen was like 2.5 and Quinn was just a baby, like not even walking. She's a baby. And I handed them over to an Amish couple, and Kristen was crying, reaching for me, mommy. And Cam was just looking at me like, what are you doing? Why
Yeah.
are we going through this? And I got back in the car with my mom and dad, and they dropped me off at the motel, and I still had a couple days left. And then after that, I was, staying with other people at different houses.
Oh,
And the thing about it is, the couple that they were placed with were an amazing Amish couple. They would call, like, they didn't follow the rules of what the guidelines of what CPS had. They literally would call my parents and want me to talk to my kids, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go run off and get high. This was my time, and I did that for about 30 days, and that's when it finally hit me. 30 days is it's all. Thank God it didn't take any longer than that. Thank God. And
what was it that changed? Like, what hit you?
So this is the irony of it. I was walking from Zach's grandmother's house on the golf course road up near Zalon's Corner. And Amber, I think her name's Holyman, Amber Holyman. She was with CPS at the time. I was walking and it was raining, and she was coming from my mom and dad's where she had just removed my oldest son too. And she picked me up and put me in the car. And she's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know what I'm doing. I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm stranded. I don't have a vehicle.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go charge my phone at the gas station." She's like, "Well, I'll take you to the gas station. Do you want to go to your mom and dad's if they'll let you there?" And I said, "Yeah, but I don't know if they'll let me there or not." So this was a God thing, because she picked me up, took me, talked my dad into letting me stay in a night. And we had made arrangements for me to go to Focus the very next day. So I get there and I still got dope. I'm, not going to sleep. I'm acting like I'm sleeping. My dad goes to work 5 a.m. My mom's still sleeping, and CPS comes knocking, beating on the door. And I am outside behind the house as tight as I can get up against it so that nobody sees. I'm not even breathing at this point, probably. I'm scared to death.
Yeah.
That somebody's coming to get me. But really, my disease was telling me, like, be afraid. Don't go, don't follow through with this, because you're about to lose, me. You're about to lose yourself. And I kid you not, like, I could hear the car door shut, and then the car that was going down the road, the gravel, it sounded like thunder. My whole body was shaking, and I believe in that moment in time, like, I could hear God, like he said, "Get up, do something." And my body was shaking so bad, and I believe those were the chains of addiction that were falling from me. I truly believe that. I believe that the chains were falling right off me with that, because for the first time in a long time, I went in the house and told my mom the truth. I said, I've been hiding from CPS behind the house. If I could, will you let me stay here for a couple of days so I can go to recovery council? She said yes. So I laid it out for 3 days at their house, even with Zach coming and getting me, because we were still allowed video calls, and we would meet at Crossroads. He'd come pick me up. He was still in active substance abuse. He'd come pick me up, take me to Crossroads. We'd talk to our kids, and at that time I could see their little faces, and like it was just, man, what have I done? What have I done? And like, they're not with me. Who are they with? They're with strangers. What have I done? What can I do now? And even with Zach having substances, meth, still didn't use. That Monday morning I called, and I want to name drop so bad, and I can't, because she's so amazing. Oh my gosh, Dora,
yes, Dora.
She was the first person I saw as I got to recovery council, and she was, I couldn't ask for a better, warmer. She really handled me with care, because I was I was skittish. Like, they were the law, you know what I mean? Like, there was that psychosis was still with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was sitting out front. My mom handed me, I said, because I'd always ask my parents for money, like, "Can you give me some money?" She's like, "Here's your $8, and this is where we part ways. No hug, no kiss, no I'll see you later. There you go. You're done." Done with you.
Don't ask for nothing else.
Yeah, you're 35. Here's where I draw the line. The line is drawn.
No for a pack of cigarettes. Did you smoke?
Yeah. Line's drawn. See
ya.
And I can remember Stephen, He's in recovery too. I cannot remember his name, his last name. Gosh, why can't I remember these last names? But I can remember sitting on one of those parking blocks at the recovery council, smoking cigarette after cigarette. And here comes Steven bebopping out. And he's like, hey, you new here? Hey, you're going to love it here. You're going to love it here. And I'm like, oh my gosh, is he working for the law? Like, like I was scared to death. Like, he's trying to get me to stay. Like, what's going on? So, but
Don't listen to him.
Yeah, Dora came back out. She's like, come on in. It's time for you to go to your house now. And I'm like, okay. So I stayed there for, 90 days, I believe it was. And I didn't know what I was going to do after that. I had no idea. I was getting visitation with my children, and I was learning more every time I seen my kids. It was almost like I remembered their births, and I remember bits and pieces of them as they were growing up. But every time I'd see them, they would change. Does that make sense? They would change because my mind was decluttering. It was unfogging. It took me a good, probably, I'm going to say month and a half to come out of the drug-induced psychosis, because I was sitting in group with Kip, and he's sitting there like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, no, I don't know. I don't know what you're saying. What are you trying to tell me? Like, so for a long time, Kip was the devil for a long time until he wasn't.
Yeah.
Thank God for him. Thank God for him.
But he made so much sense, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And for somebody that didn't make sense, I didn't make any sense. I'm grateful for him, 100%.
Yeah. Tiffany Justice said, this is amazing for me to read these comments as they come through. And for me, Heather has been all these things for me.
Aww.
Blessed for you.
I love you, Tiffany.
Aww. So in that moment of like you going to rehab, what were your feelings? What was you feeling, or what was you not feeling in that moment?
Oh, I was feeling, well, I was still under the influence, first of all. So I really didn't really feel any real true emotion until probably a week while I was in there, and they were all intense. And that made me want to run. Every time I felt happy, it was like manic. It was manic. I was manic. Like, and if I was sad, it was like a deep depression. Like I want to leave. Or if I was angry, I was wanting to fight somebody. You know what I mean? Like I was looking for reasons to get angry, because I had no idea how to control the emotions that I had, because they had been altered basically my whole entire life.
Yeah.
So I really had to learn how to, lessen the intensity of every emotion that I have.
Yeah.
And for my children, like that was a big piece too, learning how to love them and appreciate them, because I had never appreciated them the whole time they had been born up until that moment. So September 9th of 2019 was the day that I went in and I started to think, man, these kids, they're God has purposed me to be their mother, and I'm going to raise them, because you never know who you got. You might have a president, so guide them, teach them well. You know what I mean? I may have, astronauts in there. I don't know. You never know.
You never know.
You never know who you got.
Oh.
I definitely don't want them to teach them to be, substance abusers. That's not on the list. Who I want them to be.
Yeah, we were talking about that. Like, that's one of the things that scare us, is that we know that there's that chance that they could, no matter what we do or how, good of guidance we give them, that there's that chance that could happen to them. Only because, we're their parents.
Absolutely.
And it's a really scary thought, because like kids these days, they don't know strangers, and they don't know nothing's not new, or how should I say that?
What, online?
It's not like they know it. Like we just said before we even went live, like YouTube, everything is on YouTube. So like if they want to know something, they're gonna know it. Yeah. So it's really scary these days, that regardless of facts, I feel like there's always going to be that chance. But as long as we continue to instill great things in them and show them some great qualities that we have, and still express the bad qualities that we did have,
Yeah.
That's what I will say. I think the biggest thing I can do is lead by example.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
way we live our lives now, like that's the best thing I can do for them.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I'll never shy away from who I was either. I'll
No.
always be straight up honest with them.
You have to.
Yeah. And I think, the biggest thing is, being the parent that I didn't have. Everybody talks about having this parent that didn't care about him. I had a parent that would love me to death if I allowed it. He was my dad was my biggest enabler. There was money, he'd call me 10 kinds of dopehead, stupid dopehead, worthless dopehead, dumb dopehead, and then I'd cry and he'd give me money.
Yeah.
And then it was stupid dopehead, worthless dopehead, dumb dopehead, and I'd cry and he'd give me money. And that's another thing too. Like, I'm going to be, if that does happen to my kids, I'm going to be the parent that they didn't have. I'm not bailing you out of jail. I will sit, you will have no commissary,
Yeah.
that was my mom.
That's not what happened.
Hey, I'm in jail. She's like, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, and another thing too, like, I mean, I admit when I'm wrong. If my kids call me out on something, well, that's not what you said. You know what? You're right. I didn't say that. You're right. Just admitting that I'm wrong when I am, because no one knows everything. That's how we learn from each other. And I teach that to my kids all the time. Because I used to say that all the time, call my dad from jail. He'd be telling me, if you would have done this, I'd be like, I know, Dad, I know. I didn't know nothing. I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things
what people want to hear when we're in jail.
Yeah.
Even that we want to hear ourselves. We'll tell ourselves, you know what I mean? We'll convince ourselves that we're ready to change and that we're never going to do something again. And then as soon as our feet hit the street, it's the old us is back again. And you're like, man, where can I score it? Where am I going to get high?
I went in front of a judge on a probation violation on a judicial release, and I was in there for 28 days waiting on my resentencing, and I went in front of him telling him I found God. I'm ready to start again on my journey up from probation. And he's like, nope, you're going to finish your time, 2 years, done. And as I'm going out the courtroom, like, I'm spitting at this man, cussing and spitting in his courtroom. And then back in 2021, I actually filed myself for an expungement of my record, and it was with the same judge. And I went in, I didn't have any representation, no attorney, didn't pay for anybody. I paid $25 for the filing fee and went in front of him. He remembered who I was. By the grace of God, he granted my expungement, my sealed record. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
But he remembered, cussing and spitting like a mad cat, picking a cat up by the tails, cussing and spitting. But he granted it for me. I was God too.
When did the desire for something different start for you?
While I was in recovery council, honestly, like, I was around really good role models, the counseling staff there. I would read a lot. I thought, because I didn't know anything, so I wanted to read. And, being in a drug-induced psychosis, it's really hard to follow along in a book, for real. So I had to read Rewired quite a few times to get rewired.
Yeah.
And I listened to Kip, and I listened, and I actually was, I played out what he was telling me to do. I actually listened and practiced what he was preaching, and it started to work. And I'm like, whoa, this is weird. You know what I mean? I never had a sponsor in my life. I've been to several treatment centers. I got me a sponsor. I got someone I could confide in. I still have her to this day, and I still appreciate that woman. I love her to death. Rhonda is a wonderful woman. And I don't know, that's when it started to click, just being in treatment and not really knowing what was going to happen next, but living in the moment. I didn't have this great big grand plan. I left it in God's hands, and man, just having that faith and
When
just
did you start
waiting.
trusting the process?
Yeah.
You have to, like, it's and Kit will definitely, like, at first you're like, this man is crazy. Like, what is he talking about? But I would get so intrigued.
He's a meta human. He is a meta human.
And all the things he's like, man, as an alcoholic, blah, 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 and he would tell us, well, I taught myself this and I taught myself this. And I'm like, well,
we don't teach, we're not born, drug addicts that use with the disease of addiction, maybe, but we teach ourselves how to use drugs. So why can't we teach ourselves how not to use drugs? You know what I mean? It's the same basic, it's that simple. Teach yourself not how to use drugs. You know what I mean? Like that's what caught on for me from reading the Rewired book, self-affirmations. I am not a substance abuser. I am going to be successful in today, and every day I find a win. Every single day there's a small win. And I love bad days. I'm telling you what, I hate them in the moment, but man, that next day when it's over,
yes,
man, that's a rush. Like that's a good day, You gotta have
that through it, that rough patch without getting high. And there's definitely lessons in those for sure. I think we both do that because I'm like, man, I learned something from that. But girl, I still struggle. I think everybody still struggles.
Oh yeah,
especially
definitely.
Mentally and emotionally.
Yeah,
I still struggle with all of it.
Yeah, it's a doozy. It's a wild ride. It really is.
It's
really
being able to laugh and smile, and even at the worst times we've had in our lives, I can say I can look back and still smile at days because that's who made me right now, of who I am today. Zach said, someone told me stop being selfish, asshole, and help other people. I'm grateful for the very direct guidance. It was the truth. His name is Justin K. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
I got told the exact same thing.
Stop being an asshole.
Yeah, stop being selfish.
A selfish asshole.
Yeah, except for me, it was not letting people help me.
Been there.
Yeah.
I definitely have been there.
I'll help. I'll take the whole village with me. I need everybody to help me. I need the helpers of the helpers to help me. Like I need them. So sign me up. Sign me up.
Yeah. So what made you want sanity again?
I started to feel good. I really did. I can remember, the blessings, the miracles. They say, wait for the miracle to happen. And it started happening. Zach and I didn't know what we were going to do when we got out. I was planning on going to transitional living because I wanted to see my kids on the weekends.
Yeah.
And, I think when he told his story, he touched on, sober living family unit appeared out of nowhere. And that was a huge blessing. And I learned so much in that. I mean, I was 6 months or what was it? Zach, how long did it take for us to get to see? I have a lot of black spots where I was still in a drug-induced psychosis. But when we got to that sober living home, I remember Jody Colley coming in, and I looked at Zach like, "Is this real? Like, are we in witness protection right now?"
Yeah.
He's like, "What?
Yeah.
What?" So I had to walk outside because I wasn't used to good things happening. I wasn't used to that. You know what I mean? Like it was just unbelievable to me. And then once I got used to accepting the blessing, like that's when it started to really turn around for me. And I was able to start to see the little miracles in my life each day. Like every hour there was something new and cool happening for me. Like it was amazing. I could see it in my children when we were, having visitation. But those first two, let me tell you, if you are in treatment right now and you are going home to your children, do not worry if you feel like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, because I was ready to go after the second visit because they were animals. But they were only animals because that's how we raised them. You know what I mean? I had never been around them sober. This is really how they acted the whole time. I never knew it. You know what I mean?
It's hard being a parent, especially because you have to relearn how to be something that you wasn't.
Yeah. I'm still learning how to be a mom. Still.
Me too.
Especially early on, you're still trying to figure out how to take care of you.
Yeah.
someone
Yes.
else's pain on you, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
I almost had panic attacks. I'm like, oh my God, how do
I told
I do it?
Jody Colley had to come up one night and like come up and say, just calm down. It's all right. He keep Joy from porch was like, you're going to be all right. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, I'm ready to go. Get him out of here. Like, I'm ready to leave because it was just, so don't be discouraged if you ever feel like that. Whoever's watching, if you're in treatment, when you watch the replay, don't get discouraged about that because that's a normal, natural feeling.
It is. And girl, still to this day, I'm like, what? Because my daughter, woof, we butt heads a lot, and she does everything you know what I mean? She knows how to get like under mommy's skin, and she tests the water. She's like, let me put my big toe in here and see how she reacts. But I feel like we're going to continue probably every day for the rest of our lives learning how to be a good human being, period. And also that parent side of it. Girl, I don't know if we're ever going to be great at it. But
No.
Definitely.
No one would ever have children if they ever were prepared or planned or, ready for it. No, there would never be a child born. And
no, screw this. I'm not doing it. No.
Yeah. You were talking about your child, tiptoeing, putting the toe in. My kids hit the gas. Like, that's how I was too. Like, they just hit the gas just to see what I'll react to. You know what I mean? Like, how will she respond?
Let's drive that race car.
Yeah. Stomp on it, floor it. Yeah.
See if we can't wreck some people along the way.
Yeah. I've tried gentle parenting, kind parenting, unconditional love parenting, and then the first time I'm like, okay, let's think about what we're doing. No, listen, do you think she liked that? Would you like that if that happened? And then it gets to, will you fucking stop? Like, that's what it gets to. Like,
yes.
I mean, but it's a learning process. It really is.
Absolutely.
But that's what makes you a good parent, because you did go through.
I mean, I'm trying to try it all, but what will they respond to is what I'm trying for.
Being stern.
Yeah, I mean, our son, he's on the spectrum, so he thinks differently than we do.
I have a son who's full blown.
I hate to say he's on the higher end because it's such a broad place, but he is very functioning. Like, so his emotional intelligence is pretty, it's intelligent. It really is, because he literally he knows not to feel things that other people probably should be feeling, if that makes sense.
It does.
So when he interacts with his sisters, just because that wouldn't hurt him, he thinks it doesn't hurt them. And it's really hard to kind of explain that to him when he's like, I already know, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be okay. So learning how to kind of, maneuver through that right now. And our children are in therapy too. Yeah. We have people for them to talk to as well. You know what I mean? Because there's been a lot of wreckage, they've seen mom, especially my 21-year-old, and so many drug-induced psychosis. It's unreal. You know what I mean? They've seen a lot of crazy, and I hate to say crazy, they've seen a lot of dangerous domestic violence, doing drugs, pushing alcohol on them. They've seen so much. Like, I do get concerned about that for their later years. Like, I want them to be able to have an outlet for what they do have memories of.
Absolutely.
So that they don't want to, smother them later on, because that's what I did. My trauma, I wanted to smother it. So
yeah, absolutely. That's what I did too growing up. Like, with my trauma, I wanted to mask it. I didn't want to feel, you know what I mean? So I wish my mom would have did that with me. Like, hey, let's go to therapy. She did one at 14, but I'm like, screw you. Therapy's not for me. You know what I mean? I'm going to go out here and drink and use marijuana and, date boys.
Yeah.
Until pain pills and alcohol became a thing.
Yeah. And then, once we're in our active addiction too, our active substance abuse, we are creating more trauma that we have to now cover up, of our own, so that it's just getting stacked and stacked and stacked and stacked. We're clear down here at the bottom layer and plumb smothered with whatever substance is keeping us down here.
Yeah, girl.
It's unreal.
It is unreal. It is unreal. Was there a person, a moment, or a feeling that pushed you to say that it was enough?
Yeah, I'd say I would have to say God. I mean, honestly, God was, like I said, like I could feel my body just shaking, and I could feel God releasing me from the chains of my addiction. Like my whole, I mean, like shaking, like it was unbelievable. I'll never forget that moment. Never. Like that will be forever. That's probably it. And then there were other people that on top of that were, like we've got to start doing this, When Zach and I got in the sober living house together, we didn't know how to interact. I got in there thinking like, okay, this is what we're going to do. You're going to tell me everything you did in your active addiction, and then I'm going to forgive you. And he's like, no, I'm not.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Yeah.
And I said, well, you ain't learned shit. And it was me that hadn't learned anything, because I'm trying to push him to do something to make me teed off so that I'll go do something crazy.
Yeah.
It's tricky. The disease is tricky.
It is.
Super
and it plays
tricky.
with your mind, and it's I call it my greatest manipulation ever in life, because it constantly manipulated me into do things that I really didn't want to do, but I did them because I really felt like I really wanted to do them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's things that I didn't even want to do, but I did them anyway. And then I continued to do them because I got, 30 days to make a habit. You know what I mean? You stick yourself with a needle once and it hurts. And oh gosh, I missed. But then you continue to do it. And then, you get used to it. It's like, if you prostitute one time, you hate it. And then you lay down again and it just gets easier and easier. And then bam,
It's your easy way of getting what you want.
Yeah. You're riding around with a car full of, meth labs, and you're scared to death at one point, but then you don't get caught, and then you do it again and again, and it just gets easier.
Yeah, you're not scared no more.
Yeah, tricking yourself. Like it's the disease is so tricky. And today, it's so tricky still. It's in there still. It really is. But today it doesn't tell me to go use dope. It tells me that I'm not good enough. It tells me that I don't make enough money. It tells me that I should be worried about our bills. It tells me that, God is not going to provide what I need. It tells me that I'm not a good enough person to be doing what I'm doing. It tells me things, and it gets me in the car. It gets me while I'm alone in the car.
When you're alone, yes.
Yeah, right in the car.
Always.
And I'm like, dang it, why are you doing? Why?
Yeah.
Matt said shower. We get real emotional in the shower.
Yeah.
That's when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable.
I can remember, speaking of Justin Knable, I can remember calling him after I did after I shared my message of hope, lead, whatever platform, whatever you want to call it. After I shared my story, I remember calling Justin Knable and talking to him like, that trauma from my son really got me. Like it was just, I couldn't get off that, because our son was in foster care and he had been sexually abused while he was there. And man, that was, there's three things when you get in early recovery that you don't want to happen. Somebody you love dying, something happened to your kids, or something happened to you, right?
Yep.
One of those, something happened to one of our kids. And he was strong enough and brave enough and felt comfortable enough to come and tell me. That was a turning moment. Like, man.
Yeah.
And I was so angry. Oh man, there were so many things that went through my mind. Like, oh, I want to burn. Where's this kid at? I'm gonna hurt this kid. I'm gonna burn their house down. I'm gonna kill that foster mom. All these things started going through. And then one of the ideas was, how about you just call children's services on them? So that's what I did. I turned them in, because our daughters had come from, after being there for 2 weeks, they had come home with bed bug bites that had developed ringworm, where they were dirty. Like it was unbelievable. And then our son getting sexually assaulted. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I mean, it was just a really hard time, but I didn't use.
Well, not
Didn't
only
use.
that, but those are the type of moments where you can see the growth within yourself because the way
Yeah.
you handle it and the way you're thinking about it.
Yeah. Yep. And I
Girl,
called people that I loved. And you know what? God placed my sponsor with me for a reason too. I believe that, because she had a similar situation, and she was equipped to handle everything I was telling her. Like, it was amazing. Amazing. And then Jody Colley came up, and he's like, man, you guys don't leave. Don't go do nothing stupid. Just, and I was like, I couldn't do nothing but cry, and then the next visit, our daughter came, and she would cry, and I could feel like I could see her snot and her tears in my shirt. And, I remember thinking, like, this never has to happen again. As
yeah,
long as I don't pick up and use, this never will happen again. And I
yeah,
think about that daily. Like, I don't have this, no more snotty tears on my chest. Not unless it's, something,
yeah,
but not over not being away from me. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, that's never, and that's for everybody.
yeah,
Not having your kids in your life, or a loved one, or your parents, or your grandparents, or your sister, your brother, whoever, never has to happen again if you don't use. You just don't use. I know that I am safe. If drugs are all around me and I don't put them inside of me, in my body, at any way, shape, or form, I'm safe.
yeah,
I'm safe.
yes.
I like feeling safe, pretty safe.
Girl, that had to be trying times for you though. Like,
Oh yeah, because we knew everybody in Waverly. You know what I mean? We lived up
yeah,
there on the hill, and it would have been super easy just to walk off that hill. And
that's where support comes in and you reaching out and doing the right things and connecting with the right people.
yeah, yeah, and that's what I was taught, and that's what I practice, and that's what I
Yeah.
still practice today.
Mm,
Because there's
you have
several
to.
days where I just want to quit my job, and I call my sponsor. She's like, probably not a good idea. I'm like, are you sure? She's like, no,
I,
you're not.
I don't have a sponsor, but like I there's days I'm like, man, I need to find another job, and then I'm like, no, just sit still. What are you doing?
Right, right.
Most people don't get to sit at home and go to work in their pajamas, and you know what I mean, at least from the waist down, and just have something on up here that's suitable.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But most people don't get to have meetings setting it, half dressed and half not dressed. I
yeah.
have clothes on down there. Don't come for me. So I'm saying, like,
Just sitting there,
pajamas.
pants
Yeah,
on, pants.
but most people don't get that luxury. So I have to remind myself of that daily, because I am a people person and I love talking to people, and it gets really lonely on this side of it when you don't talk to people, except for unless you're in meetings.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then there's such a thing as, like, compassion fatigue. Like, you get,
Yeah,
clients that are just, they've been in a spot where you're at, and you want them to get it so bad, but it's not for you. You can't want it more than they want it. Like, I've learned that too.
been there,
Like,
been there,
you can't
been
want
there.
it more than they do. And then there's that saying, like, some of the, for some of us have to die for some of us to live, and let's not let their
Yeah,
death be in vain. You know what I mean?
for
Because
sure.
that's the reality of it. We continue to move on with our drug abuse,
Yeah,
jails, institution, and death. That's basically it.
yeah, that's it. You said it. How did you rebuild trust within yourself?
Well, I don't know if I still don't really trust myself. I still ask a lot of people what to do. Like, is this a good idea or not? No. The steps had a lot to do with it. Working the steps, like taking my inventory, like
Ooh,
making sure what my motive is for doing what I'm doing, when I'm doing it,
check your
and
motive.
praying about it, asking God. And sometimes right in the car, like, I'll ask God, like, is this really happening, God? Like, is this really
Yes.
happening? And,
Or
like, and
give
I'm
me that sign. Give
I,
me
I
give me the sign. Yes.
every time I go to church, I can feel the Holy Spirit flooding me. I mean, my eyes flutter, tears flow from my body, and it's almost like a cleansing of my soul when I go to church. And I know that God is with me always. I really do. And I feel like he is my moral compass, honestly. And when I do, like when I make bad decisions, don't get me wrong, but that's all me. You know what I mean? That's definitely not, that's not God. That's all me. And I'm selfish and self-centered, but I have to remember that my will has to align with God's will for me to be, purposed in the right direction.
That's good. How did you rebuild trust with your children?
Ooh, so this was tough. We're still working on it with Cameron. Our little girls not so much, because they were still really little, and the memory of the little one is not, kind of passes, along, like some of the trauma moments, because they're young. Cameron and Devin, my 21-year-old and my 15-year-old, they were maybe a little bit, I can remember. So when I went to treatment, here's a good example of the trust back with my children. Devin was 15 at the time, and he had actually told me, I was like, I'd sold all my jewelry, and all the jewelry that I stole, I'd thrown out the window because it was bugged and wired or whatever. So I had nothing when I went in treatment. And then one of the ladies in there was like, the first friend that I made, she's like, here, I got this. And it was like a silver ring, but it was like a Roman toga thing. You know what I'm talking about? That Caesar wore.
Yeah.
And it was adjustable, and it could go around your finger. And I said, look, Devin, look what I got. When in Rome, act like, because I'm in treatment. Look, Devin. He's like, no, Mom, Rome wasn't built in a day. I said, exactly what you told me. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll never forget that. Like, and because he's seen me go through so many treatment facilities and do that. It was just like the rigmarole of the same thing. Mom goes to treatment. She gets an out date, does the same thing. You know what I mean? I live life today with no out date. You know what I mean? I'm just going to keep going because I don't have an out date.
There you go.
Keep on living. I'm not going to survive. I'm going to live. So, but with Cameron, I think that he still has some anger issues. But it's a little bit harder and more challenging to really kind of get into his mind. But our relationship is better. It is a lot better. We talk. Before, he was ignored. All of our kids were ignored. The needle, the bathroom, the foil, the plate were so much more important. They were always underneath of it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, but today we actually talk. We talk about feelings. We talk to each other, play games,
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Yeah.
Hugs and kisses. Like my 7-year-old now has this little bitty kissy face, and I swear I'll miss it when she grows up, because it's this little bitty lip, like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, put it right here. A little bitty lip. She looks like a little pigeon, and I'm like, just give me a kiss right here.
This is what was the biggest difference between who Heather was then and who Heather is today.
Dang. Oh my gosh. Well, you knew me back in the day. So, I mean, there's a lot of people that would say that, I don't know, I think I found part of my moral compass, you know what I mean? I'm still selfish, a little less self-centered, but more spiritual. I don't really hide from myself like I used to.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm
able to look at myself and see who I am and accept me for me. And I don't smother anything anymore. You know what I mean? I don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm so glad I don't do that too. I'm glad I don't smother me.
Yeah, because we're actually pretty valuable. God sent us here for a reason. We're purposed. You know what I mean? We're purposed.
Something, girl. We've all been through some shit. I've heard some stories of him, and I know our stories. I know some of your stories, and definitely know my stories. And man, boy, I'm surprised we even dug ourselves out of it, to be honest with you.
Survive. Like that's how I know, like, we're all purposed for a very specific reason.
I believe that.
I mean?
Yeah.
Like, God is, chosen, called by name, even called by name.
Mm. Called by name. I've been doing this. This is probably our 18th, 19th episode.
19th, I
And
think.
it never ceases to amaze me, like all of the stories that I hear of like how people have came out of things. And I'm like, man, I've been there, but it's always different hearing it from somebody else. Like,
Yeah.
I've lost my kids twice in a row, you know what I mean? And I still haven't to this day got that chance. I still have a daughter who's 20 some years old, still won't talk to me. My oldest son is the only one I ever got to see grow up. And now I get to watch my other ones grow up, but in somebody else's household.
Mm-hmm.
Hearing your story and you getting to see, seeing your story with you and your kids and stuff, it still gives me inspiration.
Yeah.
And hope. Yes, for sure. And I wanted you to know that, like, it's not from a lack of trying on my end. It's just the lack of me and my sister having a good relationship, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So it's just know that you have inspired me in some way today. So
Thank you.
giving me some, hope, more hope than I had before I started, this episode. So I appreciate you.
Listen, there's a reason and a time for in a season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a season.
Yeah. One day.
Yeah.
It has to one day, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when it's time, it'll happen.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
It's already been written. Like, we don't even, it's already been written. We just got to trust.
It's just one of those things, like, I talk about it all the time, like, especially in my early recovery, like, I wanted things to happen when I wanted it to. And I used to always fight God on his will because I wanted it my way, right?
Yeah.
And, especially with certain things, like, I'm still learning things are going to happen when it's supposed to, not when I want them to. And it might not necessarily be how I expect it to either.
Yeah. Listen, having kids is not for the weak of heart. Like, you really got to be prepared. You know what I mean?
For everything.
God knows the perfect timing. You know what I mean? He does. He really does.
He does, for sure. What would you tell a mom listening right now who feels the same way you once did?
Oh, man, don't give up. Like, listen, you are not alone in feeling what you're feeling. If you've ever been in a drug-induced psychosis, let me tell you what, you will come out of it. You will. There's hope. You're going to come out of it. Don't feel like you're not going to. Let somebody know, like, hey, I'm feeling this way. Is this crazy or not? Just talk about it. Talk about it. Let somebody know. And you don't ever have to feel that way again. If you don't want to, don't use, and you don't ever have to feel that way ever again. You know what I mean? And like, reach out, call somebody. I'm on Facebook Messenger, message me, or somebody. Reach out, tell somebody, like, hey, I'm sick of this, but I don't know what to do.
Yeah, call yourself out and reach out to somebody is going to support you in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Yes, in a healthy way. Don't reach out to your dope dealer and be like, man, I think I need help.
No,
I need to like that. Come to my house. Don't do that. That's
no, Lord, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, and don't ever be afraid of being judged. Like, because man, if I could tell my whole story on here, it would just be there would be so many people that would just be like, man, okay, I can tell her anything. Because she's already done everything. Like, daggone.
Yes. Yeah, and maybe one day we can do that. Maybe one day we can have Heather back on and have a 2-hour segment and just let her go at it and tell that the whole story. Because man, we've all got some doozies, that's for sure. From picking stories to being up in the attic, seeing people that's not there. You know what I mean? And, like, it just we've all got some stories, and sharing it does help other people.
Oh, it does. It does. Yeah. But to that mom, like, I love you, and know that your kids they love you and they're waiting on you. And
Aww.
just be their mom,
Yes, just be the mom. Even if you're doubting yourself as a mother, keep pushing through. Don't give up, because you're going to question every little thing that you do, regardless,
Yeah.
mother or not. You're going to question it.
Yeah.
So just stay focused. Believe in yourself. You got anything
For mom.
for mom?
Mhm.
Do you, boo boo? All right, your story shows truth. Addiction will take. It shows truth that addiction will take everything from you, including your reality. But recovery gives that back to you piece by piece.
Yeah.
We appreciate you sharing your story. I wish we had more time to hear, more of it.
I appreciate you guys allowing me this time.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Your story is awesome. I know you've touched somebody tonight, I should say. I know you helped me more than you realized. I think I needed that little bit of glimpse of hope, realistically, because I lose it sometimes. He's looking at me like, what? I do. But thank you. Somebody needed to hear every word that you had to say today.
I appreciate you guys. I love you guys.
Oh, we love you too. And, keep pushing through and keep being that, amazing inspiration to other people around you.
I definitely will.
Pain into purpose.
And turn our pain into purpose.
Amen. I know that's right. Promote hope. If you're going to promote anything, promote hope. So
there you go. Yeah, I heard that you guys were going to be starting something like that probably soon.
Yep.
Yay!
Yep. Pretty excited. Exciting things coming.
You should be. You should be excited.
Yeah.
And definitely, I want to hear about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Any way we can help, let us know.
As soon as we get it started up, maybe we can have like a release thing, like this is what it's for. It's definitely going to be for some stuff that the government can't and won't pay for.
Yeah.
Phone cards, beds, bedding, things that there's needs, and we needed the needs and couldn't get the needs filled. We want to fill the needs. So that's what the Promote Hope's about to be about. So we're excited.
I like it. And let us know if we can help in any way, for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you. We appreciate you. And have a great evening.
Yes. I love you guys. See ya.
Bye.
We're not doing the voice, but join us this Wednesday with a special guest,
Wes Elam. Did
I call him Elm?
Huh?
I said Elm earlier. I'm sorry, Wes Elam.
He's my tattoo guy. I've known this kid since I was pretty young.
You guys the same age?
Yeah.
He just called you a kid.
Yeah.
So join us Wednesday, 7 to 8 with Wes Elam.
Yeah.
Wes Elm. Why did I say Elm?
He's a character, man.
Oh, okay. Well, well, I'm sorry, but I got his name wrong. But join us this Wednesday from 7 to 8 with Wes. And thanks again, Heather, for joining us and sharing your story. Keep spreading hope, and we appreciate everybody who watched tonight.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.